So we now have all of the information. We have what is coming out with season 3 for multiplayer, for zombies, for Warzone, and what Verdansk is going to look like. Well, today we have a video by Drifter saying, can Verdansk save Warzone? I'm very curious to see what this has to say. I think this will bring forth some interesting conversations. And I also think that this will be a great video to look at some comments on. Because I'm very curious what people have to say about this one. Of course, I haven't watched the video yet or anything along those lines, but let's dive in, see what he has to say. I'll give you my opinion, and I think the comments are going to just be golden on this one.
Which is, can Verdansk save Warzone? Because I personally think if anything can save Warzone, it's Verdansk.
It's gotta be.
As many of you already know, the Call of Duty's brand, especially the Call of Duty Warzone brand, is kind of in the dumps right now. It's not very popular. It's in a bad state. A lot of people complaining, not just on Reddit.
I think in a lot of ways, Warzone is synonymous with this map. I think maybe Rebirth Island as well, but both of those maps are going to be there at launch. So there is no excuses if these don't work.
Player counts are actually going down. But classic 2020 Verdansk is coming back in a Warzone update so huge it might as well be called Warzone 3. It's launching early on April 2nd and it'll be live to everybody by April 3rd and is essentially a huge rollback to the 2020 launch features of the original Warzone. I'm actually planning to be up early and live stream this with my 2020 Nostalgia Squad, so I hope some of you tune in. But for today, let's go.
And I think everyone is going to be doing that, right? Like I plan on playing with the people that I played with. Is some things that like I want to discover right away. Like it seems like they're putting in intel and secrets. So I'll probably stream doing that, and then I'll probably take a break and then probably hop in at night with the guys that I used to play with back during the COVID era and have that experience. And I think that's what they're banking on. They're banking on nostalgia. And like, if you actually go back and look at all of the marketing, the first trailer has the guy crying in it, very clearly made to and put there to bring back nostalgia. Then they showed off the map, and then they announced all of the changes where the game is going back to a lot of the gameplay of 2020. So if you didn't play Verdansk in 2020, if you didn't, let me know down in the comments. That's something I'm very interested in. If you never played it and you're like, oh, I'm excited for this update because I missed it. But I think most of the people are going to be coming back because none of the marketing for this map and for this update is for people who are new to the game. None of it. And that actually has me worried because generally they're trying to sell to new people, but it just seems as though they're trying to get back old players, which is so counterintuitive to what they normally do.
Over all of the news, all of the reveals, all of the gameplay details and stuff that was put out on the COD blog today, I'm going to offer my opinions, which as a spoiler are going to be largely positive because we're returning to something that I genuinely like. So first one's a little bit of a negative though. Omni movement is returning, but it's been scaled back a lot. Omni movement from Black Ops 6 is not entering into Warzone as we know it, but rather it has been considerably scaled back and slowed down, and the developers have said that they designed it to fit the game. So I hope that works. I kind of, even though I say it's a negative, I'm kind of...
Want my prediction? Because they haven't announced what it is. I think it's going to be closer to what Slipstream is, but at the same time, they didn't say anything about getting rid of tac sprint, so I might be very wrong there.
On board for this because I do.
No, I'm definitely wrong because there was tac sprint in 2019.
If we go back to 2020, it could be too slow, but if we take what we've got now, it could be too fast. So I'm happy if we find a nice little medium, though I think I would be happier if the pacing was a little bit closer to the original Warzone than to the current Omni movement. Player counts going up to 150, which I also generally preferred better. That's 150 real players, but there's also a mode called Battle Royale Casual, which is 28 real players and 120 relatively easy bots. Some people would be mad about this, but I think it's good because at least it's being made very clear up front which modes have bots in them and which ones don't.
True.
Modes with bots are separated into their own modes. If I don't want to play with bots, I don't have to do that in my own game. But
so originally I thought that was going to have a lot of backlash, but I really do think Marvel Rivals normalized bots because if you don't know this, if you play Marvel Rivals in just regular old matches, if you lose like 2 or 3 matches, they just throw you against bots. They hand you a free game. So it's like almost normalized playing against the crappy bots. It's weird.
If there are casuals, it's a great place for them to go and practice and have a casual experience. So I'm all here for the way that they've managed that. You can still shoot during free fall, so you can pull out your little Glonk pistol and just go pop people on the way down. And we can have those aerial warfare fights that we used to have back in the day. Supply boxes are reverting to their original shape and colors from Warzone 1. We're not going to have quite the variety and wildness of supply boxes that we have now, but they will have a lot of loot, which we're about to dive into, oh yeah, right now. Number one change here is that floating loot is returning. The loot that, like, when you kill somebody and it just kind of...
So again, this is like something that, like, okay, we got rid of it and now we're marketing it. It's like, it feels a little weird.
Pops out in a big circle and you can see their guns and their secondaries and plates and ammo and stuff all floating. That's coming back, and I'm a big fan of that. I thought that was a really good feature. I liked it because I could identify what the person had almost immediately and know whether it was worth the risk for me to go loot them or not. And it was really easy to just look down, look at a specific thing, grab it, pick it up, and go. Re-kitting is kind of a part of the combat loop of most Battle Royale games. Apex Legends does this with how fast you can loot the boxes, but I do like it to be a little bit skillful instead of arbitrarily complex and annoying, and I feel like the floating loot was the better way to handle that one. On the topic of loot, the original armor satchel is returning. I think that was like from Season 2 of Warzone. I'm totally here for that. I really don't like the complicated vest that we have now. Just having an armor satchel sounds great to me.
Yeah, so just like... it's just an armor satchel. It bumps your total amount of armor up to 8. The way that it worked then, which is I think Season 2 or Season 3, is if you picked up an armor satchel, it immediately would be full of armor. Don't need to pick up any more. You just pick it up, it's full. If I don't know if it's still going to work that way or if it's going to be, depends how much armor that person had in that satchel. I don't know. But I'm guessing it's just you pick it up, there's 8 in it.
They are adding, this was not in 2020, high-value loot zones. They're coming back from Modern Warfare 3, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable and fun feature to add to Verdansk for a little bit of variety. The buy stations are reverting back to their original menus and operations, so the buy stations are going to be in the exact same places that they were in 2020, and also the same menu items, so the same type of redeploy, buyback, supply drop. Not as much stuff. We've added a lot more to them in recent iterations of Warzones. We're rolling all of that back, though the dev team did tease you cannot buy Specialist, but Specialist is hidden somewhere on the map, so I'm going to be looking around for it.
Yeah, so on top of that, I don't know if Drifter will talk about this, but there's a lot of like Easter eggs, intel, things like that, which that's going to be my day one. That's going to be our stream on day one, first thing. So on the 3rd, as soon as it goes live, we're hopping in, we're doing the event. We're going to just look for just Easter eggs, things like that. And then that night, we're going to stream with the guys. It's going to be a work of art.
Specialist was super fun. It was also really difficult to get to. So I'm very here for it returning as long as they keep that acquisition difficulty high. All of the equipment is returning from 2020 as well. You're going to have the original set of tacticals and lethals, so like throwing knives instead of tomahawks.
Which, the fact that they're reverting it this hard, like how hard did they nail it in 2020?
Thermites, C4, heartbeat weapons, monitors,
all the equipment,
stuff like that.
The
but you're also going to get
the movement,
the original streaks, the original operator, and the original extras that you could buy from the station. So you can do
which
things
is unbloated,
like buy munitions and armor boxes and self revives and stuff, just like you used to be able to, and the original streaks. Just the old, the trio of streaks from Warzone 1, very simple, very easy to use, cluster, airstrike, and UAV. I think you can also buy the plantable turret upgrade thing, but nobody really uses that, let's be real. I thought the initial balance of these 3 streaks was great, so I'm happy to hear that it's returning. I do know they're adding more as the season continues, probably to test it out. And
Bunker Buster, I believe.
Public events are also returning, very similar to how they were in the original Warzone. You've got Firebreak, Jailbreak, Restock, and Loadout drops will all be happening.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be very, very wrong on this one. I don't remember Jailbreaks being there until like a few seasons in, at least. In fact, I don't remember them until Rebirth Island was out, and that's probably way too late, and I'm probably really wrong. And same with Restock. Were they there at launch?
happening on the map
Someone
kind of
help me with
randomly at
that.
different times to make sure that you, the player, get enough variety in your murder experience. By this point in the commentary, it shouldn't be surprising to hear that the original Gulag is back as well, so
Yeah,
I'll
that's
be
no
fighting
surprise.
other men in the showers once again for my
Don't drop the
opportunity to
soap.
return to life. The original vehicles are coming back. That includes the extremely powerful cargo truck that was very important for a solo
See, the cargo truck gets all the love, but I think a lot of people forget about that helo.
player. For those of you that get stressed out or irritated by the trucks, keep in mind that one RPG or one C4 makes them instantly dead. They also don't do very good with thermites. Thermites do quite a lot
And
of
they are
damage
bringing
to
back
them if you stick
thermites.
the truck. And if you stick the driver's seat, you can kill the driver as well.
I don't think till the
But the
17th,
cargo
though.
truck is coming back. I hope they bring back the truck mode where it was like Mad Max. The helicopter that was really fun and easy to fly is returning. And the team has also included plans for interior and exterior ascenders that have different performance metrics. So I guess it's slower, faster, or
Actually didn't read
easier
that.
or harder to push into buildings in certain ways. All of the ascenders on the map will be original, with exceptions of a few areas that have been changed, and we're going to go into that in a moment.
Oh, this
But
is
dev
the,
team talked
the
about we
coast.
don't want redeploy balloons everywhere. We don't want zip lines everywhere.
See how he threw the helicopter there? That's back.
Where they're kind of scaling it back and trying to keep it a little bit more grounded, which again, I'm totally here for. There's a ton of quality of life features being added, like showing how much money somebody has in the buyback menu. So you can buy back a teammate that definitely has the cash to buy back another teammate. They added a detailed death recap
This is
widget
smart.
that shows you all of the effects that you were under if you were spotted by a UAV.
Why is this smart? Because this helps recognizing hackers and reporting them, right? If they're staring at you through a wall, okay, where you were shooting an unsuppressed weapon and you were live pinged, or none of those are there, you were on a UAV or a recon drone or like any other thing, and then you're like, okay, that's why they could see me.
If you were pinged, who was shooting you, so you really understand very well how you died. And also, since we had so many issues with cheaters, you understand how they saw you. If the enemy has pinged you, or you're on the radar or the heartbeat monitor or whatever that it's picking up, well, you know they weren't hacking and seeing through walls. They
Heartbeat
just
monitor,
had
another good
better
example.
vision than you because they had better equipment. They added inspect weapon to view its attachments, which is incredibly useful because you pick up random weapons and have no idea what's
Will
on
help
them.
for
You
average
can
players.
see your squad upgrades in the little widget.
Oh, which by the way, one of the best things for like average players is simply the fact that if you don't have your weapons leveled up, the default loadouts are going to be set to something at least somewhat meta, so that like Kilo comes out, HDR comes out immediately, there'll be a class that you can use.
In the bottom left-hand corner, which is also really good, kind of lets you know what your team is packing. Plenty more small quality of life upgrades. In terms of modes, I know that most of the classic modes are returning, but they're also adding ranked play relatively soon, and then a 420 mode, which will probably be very fun for me. It seems like tons of classic weapons are also being brought back, though I think they're doing
Drifter
it in
likes
little
the
batches.
ganja.
Off the top of my head, and well, really more off the COD blog. They're teasing the Kilo 141, which you'll get for free just by logging in at a certain time. One of my favorites.
So again, I do want to, I don't know if we'll talk about it in this video. We might at the end. We'll see how long we've gone for.
Sniper rifle,
Just
and
the marketing
the Cali
again.
sticks. So you can go play the booty drums and beat people to death really well. You can get the Cali sticks for free as well for completing the whole like Verdansk event.
good
which I know
event.
will take a little while. And I know that more weapons are coming in other batches later. We talked a lot about the gameplay features. Let's move on to the map details. The COD blog has a tremendous amount of details on the map, so I'm going to try to give you the best broad stroke summary of it that I can. The map is 95% the same as the original map. The team really
gave that number
emphasized
as well.
detail, that authenticity. They wanted it to stay close to the original concept and close to the original experience because they believe that's what players would like. But there were some areas that changed. Most notably, there were areas of the map where they made police stations a little more accessible by adding ladders. Since swimming is now possible, they added some zip lines and some piers to help people get in and out of the water. And there has been a considerable amount of work done to the lighting, both to
That's the biggest thing.
make it look slightly different, but also to improve lighting quality for player
Like
acquisition.
interior.
So the original Warzone was very
Interior.
bright outside, it was very dark inside. That's why people like the rose skin. This one, they're trying to keep that difference closer together. So the brightness difference between inside and outside isn't going to be as extreme. I kind of think that is an overall good thing. The train station is closed. And I know that a couple of areas have added additional ramps and a different, access points. This is primarily like really powerful power positions, things that are like way easy to camp. They're trying to add like 1 or 2 extra avenues in to make that a little harder, which if we're keeping 95% of the map the same, that seems fine. And if you can't tell from this video, I'm overall extremely excited to play this mode, and so far all of the changes seem very positive.
Save
if I were to make a
Warzone
fantasy list of how to bring back Verdansk, it would probably look a lot like this.
That's true.
To
That's
be
a good
honest
point.
with you. I think the dev team made the correct approach by trying to go with a compromised style of gameplay. They want to have just enough new stuff so that it's
also,
not, it feels like a
who remembers the R90? That gun was something.
copy and paste, but maintain a focus on that nostalgic feel of classic Warzone. And I'm being very serious with you when I say my impressions of everything I've seen so far have been extremely positive, both for the gameplay and the map. They're all changes that I like, and the things that are coming back are all things that I like, but I do have some lingering questions and concerns. Questions like, will my cosmetics carry over?
Yes.
All of them? Will this be the last Warzone that ever comes out? A better one is, how well optimized will it be? Will my PC be able to handle it? Will there be a new set of annoying bugs and cheats, or will that be fixed? How long can we keep the hackers out of it? I don't really have answers to these questions, and almost all of those questions and lingering concerns. Will there be a new set of annoying bugs and cheats, or will that be fixed?
We will almost guaranteed have a new set of bugs or cheats or anything like that. I almost guarantee you, every single season it happens. So
how long can we keep the hackers out of it? I don't really have answers to these questions.
Are they even going to be out of it?
All of those questions and lingering concerns were derived from issues that came up in previous versions of Warzone. I'm really hoping the dev teams have kind of learned their lessons on a lot of these things, and that they're mostly going to be fixed at launch. That would be really nice. Guys, that's all for this.
So here's the thing. Let's pull this up. All of this is good. Verdansk, good. Quality of life, great. New modes, good. Gameplay updates, great. Event, fantastic. Now, here's some weird stuff. For the event, let's see if I can pull this up. The operators that are in it are the Milsim operator and Domino. So those two operators are not going in Black Ops 6. If I can frickin' find them. I want to show you the proof if I can. They are not going to be there. They're not coming to Black Ops 6 as a game. They are only a part of Warzone. And I find that really, really weird. This is the first time we've actually seen any sort of separation when it comes to Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Which doesn't seem like a big deal, but really is. So it seems like with this update, here we go. With this update, it went back to the top of the screen. Okay, lovely. With this update, Beanox and Raven seem to be the studios who are on the game. And that's that. And I don't think that's going to change. They're changing the movement. It's going to be different than the game that's currently out, which means if Black Ops 7 introduces wall running, Warzone may not have it. Interesting. So we have Domino and we have the Milsim. So those two skins right there. If you don't take advantage optionally via the special free trial of leveling the Kilo 141 assault rifle in previous 24-hour countdown, operators Domino and Milsim Yusuf from Modern Warfare 2019 become available at this time and are only accessible in the Black Ops 6 section of the operators menu in Call of Duty Warzone. Both operators are not available in Black Ops 6 multiplayer or zombies. Like, why? Like, they're too realistic. They don't match the 1991 theme, which is insanity because there's unicorns and stuff. That doesn't make any sense to me. So what I think it comes down to is longevity. Can they keep this churning long run? And will it work long run? Now, we need to look at comments because I think this will be extremely, extremely telling. What we have. For someone who hasn't played Warzone for 4 years, all of this sounds really weird. Like, they changed what? So you didn't even know that they changed it. He just stopped playing the game because he got sick of it, I guess. Just really hate how COD removes features, then brings them back and markets it as new, like these features should never have been removed in the first place. 100%. I don't think they're marketing them as new. They're definitely marketing them as returning, but they're nostalgia baiting 100%. Honestly, the best thing that could happen to the COD franchise would be for players base not to let Verdansk save Warzone. This game needs to truly die in order to force devs to make the proper changes to fix the series. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but will that happen? I don't know. Verdansk will refresh player memories and bring joy for a month max. Then, once enough decent players are effectively punished by the matchmaking system and cheating arises again, the game will die. Hopefully forever. The map is not the problem. It's the totality of matchmaking, bad servers, bad developers, choices with respect to gameplay, and so much more contributing to Warzone's and COD's multiplayer failure. That might be the best comment I have ever seen on a YouTube video. Well written, makes sense, to the point, and more than anything, correct. If the hacking, if the servers, if the bad dev choices are not there, it's going to falter. And it seems like season after season, they're going to be implementing updates, changes to the map, and that's good. But this is something that's not just a one-day fix thing. The entirety of the game has to be updated. The mentality of the developers needs to be updated. The skill-based matchmaking needs to be updated, which won't. So it's a whole thing. Like he said, what a goddamn comment. That guy is an absolute beauty. That's the takeaway of this video. That guy is a goddamn beauty.